passion.
Winnie Chelangat is a volunteer coach for female athletes in Kapchora. A former athlete herself, she has taken to grooming future stars and details how the raw talent is scouted and polished with limited resources. She is a coach for both formative and junior level athletes.
Sometimes we just wait school competitions and we go and identify them from there. We take them to the field, we train them from there. After there, we start by jogging. Then after that, we go to the field. After the field, then we now move to other places apart from the field.
Despite the level of success over the years, it is still a struggle to attract females to the sport of athletics in Kapchora district. Parents openly dissuade them, hoping to marry them off and collect bride price. Chelangat tells NTV how she manages to convince the parents to let go of their daughters.
For me, I just call for a meeting. I call them, they come, we sit and we share how I'm going to train the children.
Even during the school term, the coach ensures that she keeps tabs on her proteges as they balance academics and sports. She adds that most girls are fragile and averse to criticism, which has seen most of them drop out of the program to pursue other things.
There are some, when you are advising them, they feel bad and they're like, let me just go. And they can get out of the training wing.
Uganda has only one qualified female athletics coach, Grace Chesang, who trains the Uganda People's Defense Forces women's athletics team. The rest do it on volunteer basis because of their passion for the game. The government does not have a plan in place for female athletics coaches, and this is why their number is quite low.
Actually, my mother used to run with those of Dorcus Inzikuru and Beatrice Aikuru. So I have now that blood and I have that heart.
Today, most athletics clubs are based in Kapchora, which is a 2-hour drive away from Bukwo district. Ironically, Bukwo has produced almost as many athletes as Kapchora. In September this year, Uganda marathon runner Rebecca Cheptegei met her tragic death in Kenya. Chelangat says one of the reasons she moved there was because of training facilities. She calls on the government to expand the athletics program to Bukwo and Kwen districts.
For us also to identify other young athletes or the upcoming athletes, I was requesting if the government can also put some programs in Bukwo.
The coaches shoulder the financial burden of training and feeding the girls, including transport costs to various competitions across the sub-region, in the hope that they can make it to the national team trials.
When I call them and we have a program of running, that very morning, my mom prepares tea plus some escort, but with our own pockets. Yeah, that's how we do. Even lunch, even supper sometimes. Even sometimes when we want to go for some competitions, like in Kapchora, they come and sleep at our place. Then in the morning we just travel. Sometimes we can negotiate with the parents, they can pay some. Then we pay some with my mom.
Irene Chemusto is a former national athlete who has been in the sport since 1985 when she started running. She was in primary school at the time. She first qualified for the national championships in 1986 and represented the country in Nairobi, Kenya.
When I represented the country considered me. They educated me, they took me at school when I was very young by then. Then after taking me to school, I was training, I was doing athletics. So that went up to senior 2.
She got married when she was in senior 2 after getting discouraged because government had stopped paying her school fees. In 2005, after giving birth to 6 children, she joined the Uganda Prisons athletics team and resumed her running. She now coaches both junior and senior athletes. She is gainfully employed by the Uganda Prisons to handle their female athletics program, but says money from her career has helped shoulder the burden of late salary from the government entity. She says it would be very helpful if the female coaches were paid by the government.
I was requesting the government just to consider us ladies, not even ladies alone, to consider coaches, to at least, to let me say, direct to pay them.
Now, developing a female athlete in Sebei region with the prevailing cultural norms that see a woman as property to be owned by men is not easy. Balancing sports and marriage is always a challenge. Chemusto advises female athletes to take time before getting married, with the other option being a man that is supportive of her career.
Let me say, if there is a challenge, at times you can train and you don't get money, and that man may support you.
The low esteem of a man who is earning less money than his woman cannot be overlooked. Chemusto says one of the fears the men have is that a successful woman will eventually leave them.
They might think that one is going to cheat. So that's why now, very careful. Thinks that the woman is very beautiful than others. So that one means now that somebody is not trusting a woman. And athletics doesn't need now to somebody who is very strict. You must be free, such that the riches comes at home.
The death of Rebecca Cheptegei sent shockwaves through the region. Coach Chelangat says there are athletes who are going through the same domestic issues that Rebecca Cheptegei faced. Coach Chemusto's solution to that is that the women should first build their careers.
They are there, but I cannot mention their names. They are there. So even the time, Rebecca got that instant, some were complaining, and we even called for the meeting.
My advice is, I advise them not to marry earlier, to first run and achieve something.
Felix Manyindo, NTV.